Hey guys, Sean here. Welcome to the F1 Word and to the preview for the 2023 Austrian Grand Prix, the first of 4 races in 5 weeks and the second sprint weekend of the season. This is another track I absolutely love, and in recent years it has thrown up some really good racing, so hopefully with 2 races this weekend we see plenty of action. We shall see, of course, but lots to get through as always in this preview, so let's jump straight into it, starting with a look at the circuit and all the stats that follow. So, last time out, F1 was at the Circuit Gilles Villeneuve for the Canadian Grand Prix, where Max Verstappen took his 4th win in a row and Red Bull made it 8 wins out of 8. But now it is back to Europe, specifically to Spielberg for the Austrian Grand Prix, the 9th race of the 2023 season. A lap of the Red Bull Ring is 4.318 kilometers long, and if you work in miles, that's just over 2.68, and is made up of just 10 corners with a race lap record of a 105.619, which was set by Carlos Sainz back in 2020, and come Sunday, we are set to see 71 racing laps. This weekend, there will be a total of 3 DRS zones, each of those with their own detection point. The first zone runs from the exit of turn 1 up to turn 3. The second zone is just after the exit of turn 3 and runs to turn 4. And as you may have guessed, the final zone is down the start-finish straight. The best spots to get a move done, by the way, are probably turns 1, 3 and 4, although it has got to be said that if a driver ends up just in front of the car they are overtaking at the detection point before the first corner, they will be at risk of being repassed straight away on the run to turn 3, so it's probably best to stay close through there and then try to make the move a little bit later on. Same argument could of course be used for the zone between turns 3 and 4, and that is why I love having consecutive zones with their own detection points. It really adds to the action and it forces drivers to be a little bit more strategical about their moves. I just think that works so much better than having 2 zones serviced by 1 detection point. Over the years, the circuit has hosted 36 races, including 2 Styrian Grand Prix, with 23 different drivers taking victory in that time. The driver with the most wins being Max Verstappen with 4, and last year Charles Leclerc joined the list of winners as he led home Max Verstappen by just 1.5 seconds, with Lewis Hamilton taking the final step on the podium. And one last stat for you, as you can tell by the fact they didn't fit on my graphic properly. A whopping 6 drivers, Max Verstappen, Valtteri Bottas, Lewis Hamilton, Nelson Piquet, Remy Arnoux and Niki Lauda are all tied for the most pole positions at the track with 3 each. And you do not need me to tell you that 6 is also the number of dry tyre compounds in the Pirelli range, and 3 is the number of dry tyre compounds available across a race weekend. That is right, it is a double segue into tyre talk time. Why not? The compounds available for this one then are once again the softest in the Pirelli range, and they are the hard C3, the medium C4 and the soft C5. Now the headline in Pirelli's preview is no rest for the tyres at Spielberg, and that pretty much tells the story. It is a high-speed track with plenty of fast-flowing corners, and with so few straights, I mean, they have long runs but not lots of them. The point I'm trying to make is the tyres really don't get much time to take it easy. So managing those tyre temperatures will be a big factor in the race. Traction is also another important factor, especially up at turn 3 where the exit is critical and is followed by a DRS zone. Last year's winning strategy was a 3-stopper with Leclerc starting on the mediums, switching to the hards, staying on the hards again and then switching to the mediums. Both he and Verstappen taking advantage of a late virtual safety car to stop for a 3rd time. Much of the field though went with a 2-stopper, although if tyre degradation turns out not to be too high on Sunday, Pirelli says a 1-stopper is absolutely doable. A reminder as well that this is a sprint weekend under the newer format we saw run for the first time in Baku. So during the shootout, which isn't really a shootout, but that's what they're calling it, on Saturday, teams will have to fit new tyres and use the medium compound for SQ1 and SQ2, and only the soft tyre can be used in SQ3. And for those interested, the fastest pit stop last year was 2.25 seconds by McLaren, and looking through the pit stop summary, the total pit lane loss time was largely between 30 and 32 seconds. Since the track's return to the F1 calendar in 2014, 7 races have featured at least 1 full or virtual safety car period, including that late VSC last year for Carlos Sainz's fiery Ferrari. Try saying that 10 times quickly or when you're drunk, or both, why not? Anyway, the point is safety cars do crop up at the track due to the close proximity of the barriers, and the fact it has got some gravel traps for cars to get stuck in as well, which can and does have a big impact on strategy, although safety cars aren't as common as they are at some other circuits. The weather for this weekend looks to be a bit mixed again. Usual disclaimer at this stage though that I'm recording this as ever on Wednesday evening, so this is what the forecast is saying as of right now, but it could and probably will all change before we get to the weekend. But Friday is currently expected to hit highs of 24 degrees for practice and 23 for qualifying, with the risk of rain for those sessions at 70% and 55% respectively. Rain is forecast for Saturday morning, but the risk reduces as the afternoon goes on. So whilst there is a threat of a shower during the shootout, the sprint race is expected to stay dry with highs of 19 degrees. And on Sunday, it is forecast to be warm with highs of 22 degrees in time for lights out. But there is a lingering threat of a shower, with that risk as I sit here and record this currently sat at around 45%. And your schedule for this one is back to the usual European times, but as I've already mentioned, it is not the normal race weekend format. So FP1, the only practice session at the Red Bull Ring this year, gets the weekend started from 12:30 p.m. BST and will be just 60 minutes long, with qualifying for the proper race on Sunday underway from 4 p.m. later on Friday afternoon. The sprint shootout, or if you like, sprint quali, starts at 11 a.m. on Saturday, with the sprint race itself underway from 3:30 p.m. And it is lights out for the actual race proper on Sunday from 2 p.m. and once again, that is in UK time. Now, before I get on to my predictions, I've picked out 3 news stories, or more specifically pre-weekend quotes that I think are well worth a brief mention ahead of the weekend in Austria. And just super quickly, I'm considering dropping the news from these previews, especially if I bring back the regular roundups. So let me know if you think this part should stay or go. But first up, Fernando Alonso feels that because this weekend is a sprint event, it will not be ideal for Aston Martin as the team attempts to optimise its latest upgrade package. The package introduced in Canada included more aggressive bodywork around the side pods and a new floor design, and that's all helped Aston take an apparent step forward, but Alonso, who finished second last time out, thinks the lack of practice could hamper the team a little bit. He did, though, add that the Red Bull Ring could be better for the update overall, and the team may have even more pace this weekend. And in his pre-event quotes, Fernando stated that the goal for this weekend is to keep up the current form and score as many points as possible to try and take back that second place in the Constructors' table from Mercedes. Haas boss Gunther Steiner has admitted that his team will be using this weekend as a bit of a test session to try and find an answer to their lack of race pace. As we've seen a few times this season, the one-lap pace of the Haas can be very strong, but come Sunday, that seems to disappear, and the drivers have often fallen back through the pack for one reason or another. Steiner says they have a few ideas on what could cure their race pace issues, and with this weekend featuring 2 races, they will get, quote, double the amount of time to try to do different things. He added that the team always tries to get the best result possible, but on this occasion, maybe compromising the best result will help with understanding what is happening with the car on a race day. And finally, for this part at least, Toto Wolff expects that Mercedes will be stronger in Austria compared to how they performed in Canada. However, as he tends to do, he has also been clear that whilst the Silver Arrows aim to build on their current momentum, the team will not be taking anything for granted and will be working hard to maximise the W14's performance to deliver a strong result. Mercedes is obviously continuing to develop its new package that was introduced in Monaco last month, and it is expected that they will bring a large update to the British Grand Prix next weekend. It is also worth noting that Andrea Stella has confirmed McLaren will bring the first phase of their highly anticipated package to Austria, with Stella saying the new package, which will apparently arrive in stages across the next 3 races, is an opportunity for the team to turn their season around. Right then, time for me to make some predictions, and as always, please do not take these too seriously. They're just a little bit of fun, and if you do disagree with my picks, then you can let me know yours in the comment section down below. And last time out, not awful again. Right on Verstappen for pole and the win, half a point for Alonso on the podium but in the wrong spot, and a full point for getting the number of finishes correct. And had Alex Albon not driven so brilliantly in Canada, I'd have been right about Alpine too. So an honorary point if not a real one. As I said in the Canada preview, I'm going to do 2 lots for you this time. One realistic that will count towards my season score, and one that's a bit more bold, just to try and make things a bit more interesting. So, starting with the realistic ones, this is a track like all the others we've been to so far this year, to be fair, but more so on this occasion. This is a track that should suit Red Bull down to the ground. Add into the mix their recent form in Austria, Verstappen in particular winning 4 of the last 7 races at the circuit, a P2, P3 and mechanical DNF accounting for the rest, and it all looks rather ominous. Sure, you might want to argue that Aston Martin and Mercedes at times look closer in Canada, but I cannot see this going any other way, without drama at least, than a Red Bull and Verstappen win. That means, surprise, surprise, my realistic picks are all in on the Dutchman again. Max for pole, P1 in the shootout, sprint win and the race win. I have been putting Sergio Perez P2 in recent weeks, but his form has really dropped off, and so whilst the car should be quick enough to see him at least on the podium, and yeah, he may well end up in P2 in the end, I'm actually going to mix it up a little bit and go with Lewis Hamilton second and Fernando Alonso third. My reasoning, though, is that if Checo struggles again right now, Alonso and Hamilton seem best placed based on form to pick up the pieces. And by the way, I'm going to have a moan. I seem to get a lot of grief when I pick Hamilton for a podium for some reason. I mean, I know the reason. It's because he's British and I'm British, which simply means I must be a super member of Team LH or whatever. So a brief message to those few people, rather than being, quite frankly, a dick about it and jumping to BS conclusions, how about either not engaging at all or just letting me know your top three? It's just a thought. And yes, before you say it, I know most of you are brilliant and are grown up enough to get that, but some aren't. That's the old interweb for you, though, I guess. So silly. With that moan out of the way, apologies, but sometimes it needs to be said, let's make some bold picks and upset everybody else. And remember, these work on the assumption we get complete chaos, so maybe rain, surprise DNFs, collisions, safety cars, that kind of thing. I'm going with Fernando Alonso to take his first F1 win since 2013. Yes, it really has been that long. With Carlos Sainz P2, therefore a Spanish 1-2. And because I'm imagining lots of drama, I'll go with Esteban Ocon P3 for Alpine. And that would please Ryan Reynolds and co, I'm sure. I'll also say that McLaren's update works out and they managed to pick up double points on Sunday, and Max Verstappen only manages to finish P8 due to, I don't know, dramatic reasons. Maybe he goes full on Dick Dastardly and is winning so comfortably but still feels the need to set a trap that inevitably backfires to slow his rivals down, even though just carrying on was the easiest way to take the win. Why did he never just keep going when he was leading? Dastardly, not Verstappen. It always annoyed me. Sorry, I got a bit sidetracked there. Anyway, what a random way to end the video. That is it for the Austrian Grand Prix preview then, but don't forget you can let me know your thoughts and your predictions ahead of the weekend in the comment section down below. Now, I will be back soon with some more content, including the usual race reaction live stream on Sunday. In the meantime, though, if you did enjoy this one, then please do leave a like, as it really does help the channel out. And don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss out on any future videos or streams. But as ever, thank you for watching. I've been Sean, this has been the F1 Word, and until next time, goodbye.